Alright, so what I'm doing here is I'm going to be using the information from the video that I sent before to help you to apply it to a practical, to apply it to a question to see what it actually looks like on paper. Alright, so let's look at a few basic things. We know that the Pythagoras theory states that the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the square of the other two sides. Now, if you're given the hypotenuse and you're given another side, in order for you to find whichever side that is missing, we can also rearrange the formula to use to say that side square is equal to the square of the hypotenuse minus the square of the other side that you're given. So we're going to be using these two information to help us complete a few questions. Well, these two formulas to help us to sense to you. Alright, so we're going to look at question 2 here. It says here to find x. If you look at the diagram that you're given, you can see that the right angle is here and it is directly across from the hypotenuse. So x is going to be your hypotenuse. Remember, there's something that you always have to do is that do not assume that a triangle is a right angle unless you are told so. But because it's a Pythagorean theorem question that we're given, we can go ahead and assume where the right angle is, because these would all be right angle triangles. Okay, but if you're not given a right angle triangle, do not assume that it is unless it is stated that it is actually a right angle triangle. Alright, so, and remember that the hypotenuse is the longest side and the side that is facing the right angle. So the side that is opposite from the right angle, that is the hypotenuse. The longest side is also the hypotenuse. We'll go ahead and classify this as side 1 and side 2. In this case, what we're trying to find is the hypotenuse. So we're going to be using the first formula, which is the original formula. Hypotenuse square, the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the side, the square of the sides. Okay, so we're using the first one. Let's go ahead and we're going to put in the values that we have. So we are given x for the hypotenuse, so that's going to be x squared is equal to 16 squared, that's side 1, plus 12 squared, which is side 2. X squared is just x times x, which is still x to the second power. And that's going to be equal to 16 squared, which is 256, plus, sorry, 56, not 54. 56 plus the square of 12, which is 144, and when we add those two, we end up with x squared is equal to 400. Alright, in order for us to remove a square, because the question did not ask us to find x squared, it asked us to find x. In order to remove this square, I'm going to find the square root of both sides. So if I find the square root of x squared, it actually is just x, because it was x times x that gives me x squared. So remember that square root is just the number that you multiply by itself in order to get this particular number. So for example, if you have the square root of 81, which number did you multiply by itself to get 81? That number would be 9. So that's how you'd find the square root of a number. Alright, so square root of 400 should give me 20. So therefore my hypotenuse is going to be 20. And that's how you'd find the hypotenuse. Alright, let's look at a question where we are given the hypotenuse, but we're not given one of the sides. Alright, so if you're given the hypotenuse and you're not given one of the sides, a question like number 4 would apply. And bring it up some more. A question like number 4 would apply. Alright, so we're given the hypotenuse, we're not given one of the sides, and we're given another side over here. So we're going to use the second formula to help us, or the second equation to help us. That's going to be side square is equal to the square of the hypotenuse minus the square of the next side. So let's work it out. We know that the side that we don't know, is going to be x squared That's the side that we don't know. And then we're going to put in the value for our hypotenuse, which is 5. So 5 squared minus 3 squared. Alright, so x squared is again just x times x, which is x to the second power. And this is going to be 5 squared, which is 5 times 5, which is 25. 25 minus 3 times 3, which is 9. So x squared is equal to 16. Remember, you're not trying to find x squared, you're trying to find x. And to get rid of the square, we're going to find the square root of both sides. So x is now equal to 4. Hope this helps.